What's up, wrestling fans? It's your favorite dudes that are talking wrestling. I'm Dev.
I'm Spooky.
And we are back with another great episode of Dudes Talking Wrestling.
So we got a new little segment for you guys, Heroes and Heels.
Well, I know that you are...
Don't look at my notes.
All right. I know that you love your heels, so I'm going to take the heroes. I'll let you kick it off.
I'm going to kick it off, none other than Randy Orton. I had to go Legend Killer.
Going for the Legend Killer.
You know, the Viper. So, I mean... Let's just talk about it, that they had so much faith in him, putting him in the ring with these legends, taking out Jake the Snake, Mick Foley, Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker. Of course, starting off, he came in then under Triple H and Ric Flair, Batista with Evolution, led down with the thumbs down there. So that just kicked it off and just really giving him that kickstart that he really needed. I think at the time he was the youngest heavyweight champion.
I think you're right, at 23 or 22 years old.
It was around that time, yeah. So he was just barely legal to drink. World champion of WWE. How about that?
I mean, he was the Legend Killer for the reason. I mean, and still look to him. Still never jumped ship.
No, I mean, he's been with the company for over 20 years now. So, I mean, if that doesn't say loyalty, I don't know what does.
Well, I got a legend for you on the hero side.
Okay.
I'm going to go with my man, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes.
I need more cowbell. Let's go.
I'm just saying, think about it here. Back in the time when PEDs were big, this was your average blue-collar guy.
Absolutely.
He represented the people.
Mm-hmm.
There was no physique to him, but his charisma, his in-ring work.
The American Dream.
The American Dream. Some of his accomplishments, of course, 3 world championships, countless of other accolades. And going back to your Legend Killer, even received an RKO.
I'm sure he did. Somewhere down the line.
Everybody received
They all
an RKO.
did. Fabulous Moolah received an RKO.
But just think about it. As obviously a WWE Hall of Famer, has 2 sons in the business.
Mm-hmm.
When I think of the American Dream, I think of Dusty Rhodes.
You can't picture it any other way.
Not at all.
I need the polka dots right on.
And some people thought the polka dots were a gimmick.
They did. They thought it was a rib.
And it wasn't.
No.
That was him. And him having the confidence enough to rock it and to pull it off and to make people think that, oh, no, this is me.
So I'll go right after you with the Dusty Rhodes. You can't say Dusty without talking about Ric Flair.
Fair.
Sure,
Flair.
Flair. So sure, now, he's maybe considered a hero, but he was a good heel.
Great heel.
Excuse me. So with the 4 Horsemen, the NWA feud, of course, with Dusty in the 80s, WCW, Ric Flair was that heel. He was that guy. The 4 Horsemen with Tully Blanchard, Ole, and Arn Anderson, J.J. Dillon, of course. That was a force to be reckoned with. And I think it was even one of the first stables to really put an impact on the wrestling scene. They were terrorizing everything.
You couldn't go to a show without seeing the Horsemen coming in to ruin something.
Oh, yeah, and the fans were really, really upset. Like, back in those days, like, you could have got beat up. The fans were going to get beat up. The
fans could get beat up, or the fans might do it, like, whether it's beer bottles, popcorn in the ring. It was
slashing your tire. Come out of the locker room, all 4 tires are gone because they hated you so much. You were doing your job.
Flair's limo.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they knew it was Flair's. He was the only one riding a limo. Limousine riding. Come on.
All right, I'm going to jump in. Let's go to the underdog.
Who you got?
When you say, I might be the only person ever wrestled in a David vs. Goliath match. I'm talking about the one, the only, Rey Mysterio.
I knew it. You said David Goliath.
I'm just saying, okay, think about it here. In the business, 20-plus years. Hall of Famer.
Right.
Yes, now in his, second decade of wrestling, lost maybe a little step. But when it comes to, remember, this is a business, merchandise, still in the top 5.
Absolutely.
You can't go to a show without seeing a kid in what?
A mask.
In a mask.
Right.
He revolutionized, in my opinion, the mask. He represents, for all the way from the 619, the little guy. And
Absolutely.
I think the people bought into that.
Mm-hmm.
Also I'll call him a high flyer.
Okay.
And in my opinion, he's not afraid to jump off the ropes and do what he needs to do.
No.
3-time WWE World Heavyweight Champion, 4-time Tag Champion. And you really don't know his age because of the mask.
Right. And I mean, he really put on for the cruiserweight division, the light heavyweight division, but wrestling in the heavyweight division as well, winning the Royal Rumble, going to WrestleMania, doing the unthinkable at, what is he, 4'11"?
Make him 5 foot.
We'll make him 5 foot. I was giving him a little more credit, all right? He really might be 4'11". Pete, can we get check on that real quick? Let's get a fact check. But, yeah, I mean, he's the first. He might be the last to do it. Who knows? You haven't seen someone else like Rey Mysterio step in the ring and do what he does.
And I do. Oh.
I apologize, Ray.
Ray?
I apologize, Ray.
We're about the same height.
Right.
So, and that puts in perspective.
Right.
Maybe I'm 5'7". That puts in perspective what he's doing into the max capacity that he's doing it at.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go on the record saying I don't think there'll ever be another one like him.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. It's once-in-a-lifetime character.
And Dominic, go hug your dad.
Yeah, please, come on now. We need more love. I mean, you can love him or hate him. I'm going to go with Vader. Big man Vader.
Heel.
I mean, huge heel. Come on. New Japan Wrestling, WCW. He was a 13-time world champ. One of his most notable feuds is with Cactus Jack. They had so many quote-unquote death matches, over there in New Japan Wrestling, over there in Germany. Huge in Japan. I mean, when he came over to WCW, he was just this big Goliath, destroying everything in its path. Later on in the 90s, he comes to WWE. They really didn't utilize him as well as they should have. But to be fair, he was still, young, but I think he hit that mark in WCW. It was really like his pinnacle of him, becoming that heel factor.
And here's the thing. Here's where I met Vader, Boy Meets World.
I remember this episode.
Baywatch.
Oh, yeah. I do remember him making TV appearances for sure. But
and if that doesn't kind of push.
And he still was a heel on those shows.
Correct. He really portrayed the heel outside of the ring, but also on cable television.
I mean, of course, before social media, so they kept the gimmick alive. You didn't know. They always kept the lines blurred.
Exactly. Something The Undertaker has spoken about that is no longer. Up next, I've got Sting.
Okay, talk about it.
And you have to remember here, late 80s, he had the bleach blonde hair, the bright colors. For me, he's got to be in my top 5, Mount Rushmore, for sure.
Right.
For the one, not only for his character, but for his longevity. Still wrestling to this day.
Top 10 for me.
That's fair. You have to think, he really befriended people that would later turn on him. Obviously, the most notable being Lex Luger. And for me, I can't think of a better person to actually ruffle the feathers of the NWO. You didn't know where this guy was going to come from.
Right.
Fan favorite. Absolutely got over with everybody I think that he came into contact with, as well as, you really made it when you have an imposter.
I think, who's the imposter?
It's a great question. Pete?
No, because you had me there for a minute. But no, I mean, and not to take credit away from Sting, but he was a knockoff Undertaker. I mean, he was WCW's version of the Undertaker. It's like you didn't have the mystique over there, but he still, rose to the occasion. I like Surfer Sting. I mean, he was, that's what I grew up on. I know you don't like him, but I also like the red and black NWO Wolfpack Sting.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, he came to WWE and I was like, you're 10, 15 years too late, bucko.
But you also have to remember he is one that stayed true to WCW. He didn't jump ship for the longest time.
He didn't. He was their face. He was their Undertaker. Like I'm saying, like that's just my personal opinion, though. He was in the rafters coming down. He had the baseball bat.
In the rafters coming down, like the people loved it.
They loved it. I'm gonna go ahead and end it off with none other than the Big Red Machine. Kane. I mean, when he came in, Hell in a Cell, 1997, and just ripped the cage wide open, he was the perfect match for The Undertaker.
Check those welders, because that came off a little too easy.
Oh, he ripped that right off. Come on now. Came off a little too easy. Yeah, but Kane was a force to be reckoned with. You really didn't see a character like him, especially at that time during the Attitude Era. He was really that guy. He was that heel coming again to face The Undertaker. And The Undertaker really had, of course, Mankind and Austin was really the two that really could go toe-to-toe with The Undertaker at that time. And there were so many feuds going on internally, with DX and The Rock popping off, Nation of Domination. Who was going to go against The Undertaker but his brother, Kane?
I think the writers hit it right on the head. A storyline, in my opinion, that could never be matched again.
Absolutely. No, never could really be matched again. And he was so inventive, he was like reinventing himself, My thing is like, you're going to have the mask or you're not going to have the mask, Kane. You took it off, you put it back on, you took it off. Come on. But other than that, you were still a heel. And again, I'm 8 years old at this time, and I'm, oh my God, he's going to kill The Undertaker. I was scared. I was like, wait a minute. Hold on.
Not knowing his next move, as well as
not knowing who he was with the mystique with the mask.
One of the things I really wasn't too fond of when they started making him a comedic wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, having Lita's baby.
They had a miscarriage thanks to Gene Snitsky.
Yeah.
It wasn't my fault. Snitsky. Hey, hold on, Roka. Just for the record straight, you see who's on the line.
Oh, that's good.
Gene Snitsky is on my list, and then I switched him to Randy Orton because I was like, wait a minute, like Snitsky, that's all he had. Yeah.
Honorable mention. So we'll give Snitsky an honorable mention.
There you go.
And of course, I have to give Ricky Steamboat. Dreamboat.
Dreamboat, Steamboat. Whatever boat you're on, whatever floats your boat.
Whatever floats your boat. I know a lot of people, especially the older fans out there, will have him as maybe the top babyface of all time.
Oh, definitely. And I mean, back and forth too, of course, Hulk Hogan, but even Randy Savage, back and forth heel and babyface at that time, was at the top, King of the Ring, King Macho, and then of course he goes to WCW and does his thing there. So
I'll give one more honorable mention off the cuff. Of course, John Cena.
I'm. You know what? Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Talking about merch sales,
exactly.
John Cena is like that guy.
People are still doing it, but I have to close out this segment with the one, the only. Yes.
Daniel Bryan.
Yes.
Come on.
Daniel Bryan. He won 60% of his matches. 4-time WWE champ, U.S. champ, Intercontinental champ. 12-time Slammy Award winner.
12 times.
This guy receiving awards, Libby Awards from PETA for being the most friendliest to the animals of all the athletes. I mean, if that alone doesn't make him a hero.
Right.
Including he has Daniel Bryan Day out there in Yakima, Washington.
I had no idea.
January 12th, so get your yeses ready on January 12th. We'll definitely be celebrating Daniel Bryan Day. And you have to be a hero if you're going to marry a Bella.
I guess so.
I mean, I'm just saying, this guy, another average guy. I'm going to say maybe he's 5. I'll give him 5'11".
Okay.
5'11". Nothing too crazy.
Right.
No PEDs, no crazy physique.
Certainly the underdog.
100%. Someone that you wanted to see get in there, do work. Great in-ring work. Later in his career, got hot on the mic.
I'm going to say, too, some of the best crowd reactions next to Stone Cold Steve Austin. When you look back and you see the yes chants and the crowd erupts, and just when he won that world title for the first time, there was nothing like it. I mean, I'm serious. Like, those crowd pops were...
Pull a clip real quick if you can.
The crowd is everything, it's the audience. If the crowd isn't alive, personally, I don't know if you're doing your job right.
I agree. If you don't have people, little old ladies trying to hit you.
Right, exactly. Coming out of the gate, swinging, and they're being ejected. Now you're wondering, like, is this real or what? Because I need to talk to Gary around here. So
Gary, was this planned?
Right.
So little certain things like that where, if the like you said, if the crowd's reacting, you're doing your job to the fullest. But at the end of the day, we want to hear what you guys have to say about your heels and heroes. Make sure you guys are subscribed to Dudes Talking Wrestling. Make sure you guys hit that little bell for notifications when we drop new episodes. We hope you guys enjoyed this as much as we did. But at the end of the day, we're just a couple of dudes talking wrestling.
That's perfect. A little longer, too. How do you like that,
yeah,
Keithy?
F*** you, Keith. And you too, redheaded stepchild, Scotty looking boy eating pizzas. Tiffany's losing all her profit margins because you're eating salami, boy.